Throughout this process, not just this week, as they go along, you've got these teams going out with engineering and architectural expertise. They're looking at the sites, they're looking at the structures, and essentially if they find that they match what they expect after having reviewed the plans and designs, and they don't find any reason for concern after inspecting them and evaluating them, they move on. If along the way they find any reason for concern, the staff in Transportation and Public Works has made it very clear to Grape and to the teams involved that they want us to be overly cautious. And so what you may hear, not only for this week but in the weeks to come, is that at times they will cordon off areas. That is really essentially if they find anything that raises any sort of a concern, even if they can't validate that at that point. They're instructed to immediately cordon that area off and then to go and give a closer review. The primary reason I and the County Board Chairman both felt strongly about this is we want the peace of mind to know that we can say with confidence that our structures are safe and sound, and we want the peace of mind of knowing that if there's anything that comes up, that we know how to address that immediately and to deal with that if that were to come up. Yeah, obviously one of the things we learned from the tragedy that obviously prompted all this at O'Donnell Park is we had some real concerns at that structure as to whether or not, and still do ongoing, one of the theories is whether or not the parts of that structure were installed the way they originally designed to be. So we wanted to make sure we weren't just giving a passive review, but had an understanding of how things were supposed to be. So that's part of it, but the other part is just literally physically looking and in many cases touching and feeling to make sure that whether it's put together the way it was designed to or not, that the structure is intact and that there's no reason to believe that any of it would have any sort of failure. We have them looking at everything, not only inspect, but the firm that's involved that does that specifically the sonar with the non-destructive testing. They have raised concerns about other panels in terms of how they were installed. The panel that was moved yesterday, it was more than just whether or not it was installed correctly. There was concern about whether or not it was going to continue to stay attached. And we wanted to make sure we could take it out in a way, not only for safety, because obviously it's secured and the entire area is fenced off, but also because it might give us, structural engineers, the district attorney's office, more information if we were able to take that off intact and do what we did yesterday, which was to take it over to the county grounds, to the facilities warehouse, where then they could look at that, compare that to the one that failed, and see if there were any similarities. I think anyone who has major structures should be making sure they look at what their safety schedule is and that they've done thorough inspections, which is when we complete this work, we'll have done some of the most thorough inspections of anybody who's got a number, in our case, over 100 major structures throughout Milwaukee County. We're probably one of the biggest landowners in terms of structures like that. We'll probably done one of the most comprehensive reviews of structures to ensure safety.